2022, happy new year for myself and Lewis. We're back. Taking care of business is bigger, better, badder, fatter.
We're bigger and badder.
Oh my God.
Christmas.
So we're back in the new year.
Yeah.
Anything changed from Christmas and now?
Suits are tighter.
Suits are tighter, yeah, definitely. I had a record of eating one sausage roll a day over the Christmas period.
For breakfast.
I'm paying for that now. So we've taken up a new hobby in our old age, Peloton.
Very good. If you haven't used Peloton before, Peloton's a very competitive biking, isn't it? Very competitive. Leaderboard on the side.
You beat me a few times, haven't you?
Every time. You think I'm cheating though?
I'm convinced he's cheating. So we're back taking care of business, first one of 2022. And what we wanted to kick off and talk about is things we have learned from 2021, both in business and in personal. So I guess kick off with you really firstly. What do you think, what have you learned from last year? Because so much happened last year.
Yeah, I think the one thing I want to try and avoid in this subject, which I need to address, is just talking too much about COVID-19 and say how many people have talked about the pandemic and COVID-19 and X, Y, and Z. So I'm going to touch on it very quickly and then we're off it. COVID-19, best year in business we ever had.
Yes.
Best personal investment year I ever had. Depends who you ask and what industry they're in. But I think talking about our best year, I think the first thing that I've learned is when something bad happens in the world, it doesn't mean everything in the world has gone bad.
Yeah.
So the perfect example of that is if you talk about COVID, and it's the last time I'm going to say the word COVID, is real estate was the benefactor of the whole world situation. So e-commerce, so digital platforms like Deliveroo, Uber Eats, Amazon, Apple, they all benefit. And one of them was real estate.
Yeah.
So real estate, I think around the world, people have printed money. There was more money printed than there's ever been in the history of the world, to my knowledge. And the best way to describe it, there is like a cup. And once that cup gets full, it then has to overflow. And where it's overflowed in the pandemic has been property. So property prices around the world have gone up. And that has benefited most real estate companies in the UK, UAE, US. They've all, they've had a great time really in the estate agency.
It's been a great year. So much so, it's doubled our previous best year, which has been quite incredible. But some of the things I've got some notes on here, some of the things I learned from last year was we expanded dramatically last year and actually left our comfort zone of real estate, which is,
we love real estate.
It's all we've done since we've left school. We've ventured into new fields that we've never done before. So last year we opened up new businesses in recruitment, so helping people find jobs.
So we're working with some of the biggest banks in the world, biggest tech companies in the UAE.
Yeah.
We've got actual not airports,
airlines, huge airlines
on board
locally. So we entered into the recruitment
sector.
We're
hiring pilots now.
We're hiring pilots. We are.
Scooby out.
We're hiring pilots. We're hiring flight attendants. So we opened a recruitment company. So we expanded last year. We also opened a holiday homes company, short-term lettings, which again has come off 2 incredible months in January this month so far, and December, where we have a lot of people come to the UAE for holiday homes. And the last one was home maintenance. So we identified a huge gap last year in our property management team where we believe we can get people's homes fixed. We can get them.
We are fixing them.
We are fixing them, for cheaper prices.
And I'm the biggest customer.
You are the biggest, and he wants lots of freebies.
So my house, rates. I moved into a new house in what would have been October, and the work that's had to be done on it. I mean, I had a third-party company coming down, just dealing with the wrong people, and I'll give you a perfect example. I mean, our maintenance company versus everyone else's. When ours turn up, they're suited and booted. They're in professional gear.
Not suits and ties.
No, you know what I mean. They're in branded polos. They're not turn up in double-breasted like this. Imagine that'd be cool. And they turn up and they're dressed the part. They turn up with the correct tools, not like a plastic bag with the nails in. You get a digital receipt for your work. You pay digitally. We don't accept cash. And we're creating this whole process with doing real estate into the maintenance arm. And I think that from what I've seen, there is a massive gap for really good qualified engineers from a good company offering follow-up and professional services. So a big part of our business.
So when I talked about expansion, what we have learned, or what I've learned, or what we've learned, is that people looking to expand their business, if you have a business, or even you think about starting a business this year and you want to expand, sometimes you can think too much and plan too much. And I've come across people before where they have this big, long elaborate business plans, and they're planned for years and years and years in advance.
Like forward forecast cash flows over 5 years. I've sat with these people and been like, what are you doing? Like, everything changes every 6 months, really, doesn't it? The whole world changes.
There's some businesses that may require that, but for if you start out a business, sometimes act more, think less. And I think that's one thing we took last year is we've started 3 new businesses. We've entered into industries we knew very little about, but we've actually got huge traction very quickly. But the fact we've acted so quickly and hired, and we've moved quickly, we're actually going into 2022 with 3 really well-established businesses where home maintenance department, it's got just shy of 20 people working there now. Our recruitment team's just shy of 10 people. Short-term lettings just shy of 10 people. So the real tangible businesses are already going into not even a year open.
And I think that if you look at that, if you're looking in business perspective, take us out of the equation, we've just worked with logic. So when we look at these businesses, let's just take recruitment as an example. We knew that we were hiring people. We've hired way over 1,000 people, 1,000 probably people over the years, 14 years of being open, all the businesses that we've done. We knew how to hire. We knew there was a hole for hiring for companies, and we knew we had the into these companies. So setting it up was actually just a logical.
Not to mention, obviously, there's so many people that left UAE in 2020 with, I can't use the word COVID,
You said it.
COVID. And obviously, at some point, it was bound to rebound. And lo and behold, we are absolutely inundated with people not only expanding their operations or regrowing their operation to where it was pre-COVID times, but actually new businesses coming to the country because it's never been so easy to set a business up. So the recruitment business for us, we're really excited about.
What I love about recruitment is when I look at businesses that are businesses that you always need, like oxygen. So for instance, if you said to me there, what are my key businesses that if I were to set up a new business that would guarantee me money, I'd open a nursery. Because kids need schooling. I'd also open a death home.
Funeral parlour,
Death homes.
Yeah.
Sounds horrible, death home. Death home.
A funeral parlour, yes.
A funeral parlour. But those 2 businesses, no matter what, the life and death cycle is there.
We're not going into all sorts and all sorts
of funerals. I am 100% you.
One thing's for sure, everyone needs a job and everyone needs a home.
Exactly, and it's the same process. People need jobs, they need homes. It's the same things with anything from hiring to homes to death to birth. We could open a hospital with children.
Also hospitals, also deaths, also jobs.
Guaranteed business.
No, let's draw a line there. So I mean, the point being with expansion is, if you grow your business this year, look at new things, just have an outline of what you want to achieve and how you're going to achieve it, but just do it.
Do you know the last tip I would give on new businesses for anyone looking at a hiring business or growing is me and you are not experts in recruitment. And we're certainly not experts in maintenance. I can't even open IKEA back.
I can't put a thing on the wall.
Georgia, my wife, yesterday, my son's like 8 months old now, Harvey, and he's got a walker. And she went, Lewis, can you set the walker up? And I just laughed. And I think she knows I can't do it.
I can do stuff like that now.
20 minutes later, Harvey's in the walker. I haven't done it. She's, did you set it up? Did you? But what I've learned from business is with these new businesses, hire like the best in the industry that you get to run your business. You look at our home maintenance. Yeah, we don't have a clue about maintenance. We set it up. But the person we've hired now has educated us. We know how to run a business.
Yeah.
This guy knows how to run a maintenance company. Same thing with short-term lettings. Dylan that runs it understands short-term lettings. We've built the platform and brought the stock to him. Every business we've got in recruitment. Cameron is the expert in recruitment.
Yeah.
And that's the tip I give to anyone running a business, is that it comes some point where you don't have to be also not just real estate, but the business we're in, we've hired the best.
From a personal perspective, and moving away from expansion and the things we've learned from last year, one of the big things that I've learned, and I guess really it's kind of gradually happened over time, is not putting your life on hold for COVID. So
I've said it again.
I know. Oh God! Give me a slap every time we say the words.
I'm gonna have to slap you. I'm gonna have to slap you.
How? Is basically your life. This isn't going anywhere. We don't know what's going to happen. So, last year there were moments during my year where I thought, I'm not going to go because it's on holiday because it's a hassle and I've got to do this and that. The reality is, guys, is that like as the years go by and the months go by, who knows what's going to happen? What I would say is, go ahead, live your life as you would normally whilst wearing masks and stuff like that. But don't think too much about, I need to do this and that. Otherwise, all of a sudden, 2 years pass your life by, and you live in regret because you haven't done things you wanted to do.
I mean, I feel guilty when I say it, but last year I had one of the best summers I've ever had. I went to...
You've had more holidays than Santa Claus last year.
He only has one holiday a year, Santa.
No,
because he works Christmas and off
364 days holiday.
What about the building the presents? That's not a day.
He elves to do
that. So last year, I think I went to Spain in the summer and I went to Marbella and everyone was going, "Why are you going on holiday?" I went to go meet my friend who brought his kids over and everybody was saying to him, "Why are you going on holiday?" And I had the best time ever. And then I went on holiday again, and a couple of
this conversation. Oh, it's going to be closed. What are you going for?
Same thing in Christmas. I went to London. A few people stayed here, and we've got a place in London. And I don't know what it is in the world, but and I do have a logic behind it. Everywhere in the press, everybody's very quick to say like in London it's empty. So I put up something on my Instagram before, and I was watching a Christmas show in London called Jingle Ball, I think it was. Amazing show, and it was absolutely rammed. And the next morning, Daily Mail had put some on saying the West End is completely empty. And they did the same thing with the trains, and they were saying the trains, and I was on this train, and you could not move an inch. And what I've learned about it is that people read the news, and you are what you read. I very rarely read the news, because if you read it, it's the most depressing story ever. You have to do your life based on what you want to do. I mean, for me, my kids are getting older every year and every day. I'm getting older every year and every day, and I've made the decision that I'm just going to live my life like you. I'm just going to get on with it. People are going to have their opinions. But if I don't do that, I've lost that year. So to anyone watching this, that's the lesson I've learned.
We've got, sadly, friends and family that are heavily influenced by the news. Naturally, people see the news as a source of truth. But unfortunately, with news outlets, sometimes you may see things that are probably truthful, but they don't show the other side of the story, the other picture where things are actually happening. And
I think the power of social media is a massive killer for people, because whatever you post on socials is so easy to share on WhatsApp now, isn't it? Like you send me all the time, Stone Cold Steve Austin's best Stone Cold Stunner from 1990. And, we send it to you with football stuff, and it's so easy to share that news. And I just think, wow, like whatever message the world wants to send out there, or the press, it's very easy to put out there. So what I've learned from 2021 is, try not to read too much. Educate yourself, but don't read. Just get on what you want to do.
This dovetails into a nice next point here, where again I've learned from last year. It's a huge downfall of mine is living in the moment. I was very fortunate last year to go on holiday to some lovely places last year, but one of my problems I have is I find it very, very hard to switch off. Very hard. I'm always connected to. I have to know what's going on all the time, or keep an eye. I can never not look at me.
Do you know when you're on holiday? The emails that come from you are relentless. Like, I know that you're at the place, like you'll do a few days on holiday, and then I see me CC'd in, this needs to happen, and I'm like, go away, you're on holiday. Leave everyone alone.
I've got my couple of days rest out of me and I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
And it's terrible. It's a good thing because, that's just who I am as a person. But live in the moment, enjoy your moments you have this year. When you go on holiday with your family or your friends or whatever, be there. Don't be present. Don't be connected to your phone.
I'm terrible at that. I'm with people that I'm with, okay, and I love the people that I actually, and this is how mad the world is. I'm sitting around a table with my family and people that I love, but I'm watching a story of someone I've met once or never met eating a chicken. And I'm like, why? And I'm sitting there, my family here, but I'm watching this guy and then another guy I've never actually met unwrap a present. I'm like, that's amazing. But my family there, and that's how wild the world is, isn't it? It's switching up is massive.
For living in the moment.
Do you know one of the things that I picked for 2021 is about education. I talked about educating yourself and how you can better yourself, or how you can watch what's going on in the world. And one of the things that I've watched, if you look at the world, it is going at a pace I've never seen before, and it's changing. If you go back 5 years ago, Bitcoin wasn't on your general neighbour's conversation. I think Shibu coin has made someone a billionaire that put £5,000 into it, and other cryptocurrencies out there. Crypto, NFTs, which we'll talk about in a minute, which is non-fungible token, which means that you can't transfer the ownership. I think there's something along those lines.
You own. It's proof you own something.
Correct. NFTs and the Metaverse. So the Metaverse, someone offered me a digital villa the other day.
Yeah, you can own land.
So would you like to own some land? And I was like, wow. And what I've learned is that you need to understand, maybe something that doesn't pick up, But if you're not really understanding what's going on in the world, you'll be left behind. And this goes on to what you've done recently. You've bought an NFT, you told me.
Yeah, so like everyone learns differently. And I think in the world we're in today, there's never been so much information and different ways to learn as well, whether it's, everyone takes things in differently. A lot of people like reading books. For me, I prefer audio books. So I can do things whilst I'm listening to stuff.
Football Manager.
Yeah, Football Manager. But things like YouTube, books, loads of resource online. And one thing that really interested me was NFTs and crypto in general. And who knows what the future what will happen there. But I purchased an NFT last week actually.
What was it?
It was something called Bored Bunny.
Okay, and before we ask about Bored Bunny, this is how wild the world is. Why are you influenced to buy Bored Bunny?
Do you know what? I've always been interested. And one of my goals this year was to learn more about NFTs and at least buy one. But it was actually my original boss, seen something on his socials, that he bought one, looked into it. I thought, do you know what? I'm going to speculate. I'm going to have a go, see what happens, keep hold of it. If something happens.
But how mad is the world, by the way? You've been influenced by someone that you know.
Yeah.
And that's where I talk about you are what you read.
Yeah.
Like I saw it and I was like, oh, that's quite cool.
Yeah.
But I didn't fully understand still how NFTs work. So you bought the NFT. Give us a breakdown of what actually happens. So what website do you go on? How does it store? How do you know you've got it?
OpenSea is the platform. So basically it's like I guess like an eBay or Amazon sort of thing for NFTs. Got in there, purchased it. I purchased it above what the original price was because they'd already been relaunched a few days ago. Made the purchase with Ethereum, and it got transferred into my wallet within 10 minutes.
So what happens if, and you mean wallet, you mean like you've got a digital wallet where
Correct.
you keep your coins and everything like that. Okay, so the question I've got for you is, what happens if I've just got a credit card or debit card? Can I go on there and buy that if you've got to buy it with crypto?
With Ethereum, yes.
That's wild.
Yeah.
So that probably eliminates 80%
But you
of
can
the world's buyers.
buy Ethereum, load Ethereum, buy Ethereum with your credit card, and then use Ethereum to buy your...
I guess you've got to go on though and set a Binance account hypothetically or whatever it is, put the money into there to buy that.
There are
is a
platforms
wild
where
world.
you can buy the Ethereum and then buy it directly in NFT.
Very hard though, isn't it, to buy an NFT? Do you not think?
Not really, no. You just,
Imagine me trying to buy this Bored Bunny now.
Do you know what though? If you spent, this is the whole point of education. For me, the reason why I purchased it was, one, I was interested, but two, it was a way of me learning about how it works and the process. And if I actually went through and purchased something, it would help me understand a bit more about what it entails. So I might not make any money, I might lose all of my money, but now I've gone through the steps in the process, I'm a practical learner.
Yeah.
And I'm having to do something. So, I actually believe this will play some part in our future. Maybe not art.
I think NFTs are a bit like crypto, and not crypto as in like the crypto that we know, like the solid the solid coins. Talk about the newer coins, whether it is your Shibu or your to the moon.
Speculative.
What I mean by that is that a lot of it is done on PR purposes. Yeah. So the perfect example, I've seen one of Logan Paul had bought an NFT and then flipped it, and I think he made $750,000. But he's got something stupid like 30 million followers. Yeah. So if he puts on and someone knows Logan Paul has owned this NFT, there is a value, intrinsic value behind that. So I think that if Carl also bought that,
no one's interested.
That's a nice monkey.
We'll buy it for £5.
And I think that's how I see NFTs working in the newer coins. If you've got the right person PRing it, I think that the value will dramatically go up.
Do you know what's fascinating though? And we'll move on from NFTs, but our younger brother, his generation, 21, this is all they know. And I think every year that goes by, they'll be more used to this, and this will be normal. Correct. Versus for us, where we're thinking,
and we're dying slowly.
How are we doing this? Yeah.
So we're like our parents.
You're saying you'll find it's difficult, but for someone at his age, he's telling me the other day he's got stocks and shares in the S&P, and at 21, I had no clue. No, this is normal.
We were in Colosseum nightclub. We were doing Bacardi Breezers, and what else did we do?
Oh, we're doing.
What's a black snake? Is it a black snake?
No, you had Skeletor. So Skeletor was, I don't know, it was a purple drink. It weren't good for your insides. Green Goblin.
The last one, what was the thick one called? The glass. It was thick glass, and it come in like it was like a whiskey glass, and it was like lime green colour. I don't know. 2020
was not good for you.
That was not good for your body.
But I think just summarising educate yourself more. I'm obsessed obsessed with learning and knowing new things. It could be, I want to know a bit more about how our Google Workspace works, our business, and how we can do different things. It could be about learning about a new project. It could be about learning about NFTs.
I learned this from you. I mean, one of the things when we set up the business is I used to call the IT man when you first started the business, and I was like, Carl, don't know how to install the printer. Like, so there's no IT guy, like you would help me do it. And one thing that I learned, and this is what makes me laugh, when people message me and they have to submit basic, like, I don't know, how do I connect my Bluetooth speaker to this? I'm just like, just YouTube it. Just go, what I end up doing, I just send people links. Go watch this. Don't even talk to me about it.
My mum's the same. She's terrible. She'll message me for bits and pieces. How do you do this? How do you do this? I'll just go straight away. Go on YouTube. Have a look.
So with the world completely upside down and moving in the NFTs and metaverses, one thing that a lot of people are talking about, and some people are a little bit scared to talk about it, is cancel culture. Yeah. Cancel culture in 2021, 2020 has been a wild conversation that people have had. I've seen programs from the 90s be cancelled because they've said something that sounds out of turn with 2021. And people, I mean, Molly May is a perfect example we'll talk about. I mean, it's quite a big thing at the moment where she's turned around on an interview and said you get 24 hours to work in a day and, you know, make them hours count. And the wild thing about that, there's two sides to the world. I mean, I've seen Gary Vee say things like this, and he's a hero for saying it. Yeah. She said it, and there's this massive thing at the moment where she is getting destroyed for it. What's your...
Do you know what? There's two things here. One, there are too many people in the world that have opinions for opinion's sake. And for me, like, whether it's within families or whether it's within friends, or it's a view on certain things, it's COVID or whatever, like, if you've got nothing good to say, just don't say it. But I'm not, you know, people talk about, oh, we've got freedom of speech. But the reality is with cancel culture is, when we talk about Molly May, she was slammed for a 5-second segment about everyone having their own 24 hours. But technically it's true. And, you know, people are saying, well, you know, I've got to do kids in school. And that's not her fault. It's just, you know, sharing a fact that and my point is that too many people are having to be too careful about what they're saying these days. And, you know, you were saying about a TV program made 30, 40 years ago. Yeah. And people referring to the context there, and it's like, where is the world going with...
What about the cricketer? The cricketer that got, he got banned because of a tweet or a Facebook post he put on 15 years ago. I mean, there's got to be a level where you go, okay, the world is different from 15 years ago to today, and someone says something stupid, like going hunting for someone's history and what they've done. You know, it doesn't. The world is just, for me, the whole cancel. This is my theory on cancel culture. I think you should be able to say whatever the hell you want to say,
okay? Within reason.
Within reason. Okay, you should be allowed your opinion without losing your job. You should be allowed to say whatever you think will say without obviously being disrespectful. But if you've got an opinion, I don't believe your job or your career should be put online for saying something. And I just think that the way the world is today, this is how it snowballs. You say something, it gets hashtagged, it gets shared, it hits millions of people, and everyone gets an opinion on that opinion, and it becomes such a big thing in the 90s or early 2000s. Like, let's say MySpace, the first account I was using. If I'd put something on MySpace now, like, it's not going to hit 10 million people. You know, if it was in the newspapers, you get read for a day and forgotten. There's no way to actually share that bad news to 5 million of the people.
But you makes you wonder why mental health and people, you know, saying they're suffering. It's because things like this. This young kid now is probably, you know, pulling her hair out because of, you know, so many people saying bad things. I just think, do you know what? If you've got anything nice to say, just don't say it. That's me personally. There's too many people in the world that are too quick to say not very nice things, and, you know, you've got to think, how's that person feeling about stuff? That's my view.
There's loads of cancel culture we could talk about, but for me, the world is wild,
overly sensitive. Unfortunately,
he's gone there.
That's my view on things.
He has gone there.
But maybe it's a generation thing. I don't know.
It is a generation thing.
But for me, I just think, you know, I just get on with stuff. That's my view on things.
I would say, just to leave it on this, is that I think, and again, this is going to be very controversial. I'm going to say something, I'm just going to say it how I see it. A lot of people in the world that are not where they want to be, okay, and that will be, they're not in the house they want to be in, they have the career, whatever it may be.
Instagram's played a part in that though, isn't it?
Of course, Instagram is disgraceful for what it does for where you think that you should be. But a lot of people that are not where they want to be, and they do have the same hours, they can leave their job and go into a different job if they want to do. but they'll blame their family, their background, whatever it may be, rather than taking ownership for it. And I think that is what's happening, is that in this world, is people have this divine right at the moment that because it's, oh, poor me. And in the olden days, you say, get off your ass and go and do what you need to do. But people are too scared to say that.
Yeah. That was one of the things my dad said to me when I come to Dubai. I was moaning about
me.
You were here a couple of years before, and I was like, my view was, I'm better than him, and I'm more experienced and I deserve. And my dad said to me, pour me a drink. He said, if you want to go and do something, get off your ass and get to Dubai with your brother. And that was, for me, it was like, wow, a big real...
I remember that. That 1 month, I had a while, and I was 20, I think I was. And I remember calling Dad and saying, I've just made £70,000 this week.
Yeah.
And then obviously I call you, and I don't know the knock-on effect that had to you at the time, but you can imagine that it is that, oh my God, I'm a senior valuer in England, and I'm on £24,000.
Sense of entitlement and thinking, and the reality is that when you talk about what you've earned, no one knows or sees Lewis living in the most disgusting living environment where he was living above a Chinese restaurant, couldn't have any money Indian restaurant, couldn't have any money to
Big up Chick King.
Yeah. He had no money to eat.
Yeah, it was a rough race.
And didn't have very nice clothes at all. No one sees that, but they only see that side of things.
But that was how you seen it. I mean, again, just going on to people making decisions in their lives, you were not happy that you'd heard me making that money, and you were sense of entitlement on 24, 30k a year, and you thought you deserved that. But 99% of people would have sat there and complained about it for the next 10 years. Yeah. You decided that actually, I'm going to go and do something about it. Yeah. And there's not enough people in the world today. I use this as the perfect example, our little brother, and him figuring out what he wants to do, and he's got this amazing career now in recruitment. When he first set up, he said, what is it you want to achieve? And I'm writing down some notes at the moment just for a potential guide for younger people in the generation, and how we can help them move forward from the 18, 19, 20s. And I said, what is the motivation? If your motivation is money, okay, logically, go and join people that are making that type of money. I'd use it also as an awesome example. If I see adverts that someone can make £500,000 a year, if I'm that hungry for money, I'm getting off my ass, and do you know where I'm going? I'm going to where the adverts advertise that money. And that's what people don't do enough of. Drive in where the money is, or whatever their prospects are that they want, their goal that they want to achieve. Go and do it.
Before we wrap up, goals and goal setting, we had a bit of a change in tack this year.
Yeah.
With regards to goals, every year we have business plans, we have goals, we know things we want to achieve. And typically, years gone by, we've kind of had a 12-month view of what we want to do. So we want to lose X amount of weight, do this.
Never happened.
Never happened.
We hit our goals if we said we want to put on a kg every year.
Or kilogram.
Yeah.
But one of the big things we've done this year is, through the business and also our own personal goals, we've took things in 3-month snippets.
Yeah.
Why have we done that?
The world changes. I mean, the reality is that setting a goal, let's say if you want to lose 10 kg at the year, it's impossible to do. But because obviously holidays and family and friends,
lose focus a little bit throughout the year.
I think that it's the same thing with KPIs. If you give yourself daily, weekly, and monthly targets, it's easier to go, oh, I'm off track, pull myself back on track. So having quarterly target is a massive part. I don't think a yearly target works.
So we've got plans for the first 3 months this year, things we want to achieve, business and personal, but also how we're going to do that. So some of the actions we need to take daily, weekly, monthly to make sure we get there. And what we do is review it every month at the end of the quarter. If we've done it, there's a good chance we'll get towards our yearly goals. So anyone that's watching this, you're thinking about this year at all and you wanted to make this year better than last year, look at things in 3-month cycles, because if you do that and every 3 months you've accomplished your goals, guess what? We've got a really good year at the end.
I mean, I gave you some controversial that we were talking about before, and I said there's the Kaizen theory where the goal is to get better each year. And you said to me, Lewis, what's your goals for next year? And I said to you openly, Carl had an amazing year last year. I bought properties. One of the examples was a property that I bought and sold and made a lot of money on it, and I've done a few others, and the business is doing well. And I said to you, if I can do the same again next year, but do it at 10% better, and I do that for the next 10 years, I am having the best life ever. So for me, someone that I class as having a successful period in my life, my goal is to do better than that. And I have KPIs, how much money I need to make, how much business needs to make, if I need to buy and sell properties, if I need to hire a certain amount of people, if I open new businesses, I have them KPIs in place. But my goal for this year is to do 10% better than last year. And if I do that, I'm exceptionally happy.
I guess one thing just to wrap things up on is people expecting things and wanting things too quickly.
Wild. I mean, I know people who are friends with me that, you know, whether they see like the house that I live in or you live in or the house that our directors live in, and they, I want that. And he said to them, okay, well, these guys have been here 15 years and they've been on no basic salary and they've been through the stress and the strains. And I think that there's no such thing, and it's been said before, there's no such thing as an overnight millionaire. You know, even if you make £1 million in the UK and you get a check for it, you still got to pay half of it out.
Yeah.
And it's just a long process. My theory to getting wealthy is as simple as, I'll wrap up with this. Find something you can make money in every single month, higher than the value that you normally make, and do that every single month, year in, year out. Year. Trust me, in a few years, you'll be in a very good place once you're investing that money along the way.
Excellent. Guys, that is what we've learned from 2021, and going into 2022, we've got some amazing content over the next couple of weeks, some real cool guests for you to listen to. Please, as ever, can you review, rate, subscribe to any of our platforms, if it's YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts. DM us. Yeah. Ask any questions ever. Thank you very much for listening, and have a happy new year.
Cheers, guys.
Bye.